Full disclosure, I am not saying that the sequel trilogy is the greatest in the films. I'm not even saying that they're my favorite. Far from it. Not even close. But I do feel like that they do have a very valid reason for existing. You're already writing a hate comment down below, aren't you? Hello, all my happy viewers. Well, guys, it's May 4th, and you know what that means. Star Wars stuff. Because what kind of society would we be if not for Star Wars? Now, given today's video is probably going to be very controversial, if you read the title, I'm pretty sure you're wondering as to why I would even say something like this. However, I do feel as though the sequel trilogy is doing some good for the Star Wars community. Let me explain by telling a story, which is basically going to be the whole video. So when Rise of Skywalker came out, I was obviously going to see it in the theaters. It's Star Wars, why wouldn't I? However, none of my close friends that I usually go to the theaters with were available at the time. They were either working, busy with college, or in one case, they were out of town. And yes, I did have one friend who just didn't want to see it because he wasn't liking the direction that the sequels were going in. So I reached out to a friend of mine who I had been going to the movies with for a while now. But the thing is, she wasn't a fan of Star Wars. She hadn't even seen any of the movies to begin with. But she was okay with going to the movies as long as she knew what she was getting into. So I suggested she at least sees some of the movies on Disney Plus before we go to the theater. However, my friend only saw The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, considering that those were the only other films in what was going to be the sequel trilogy. So she saw those movies and she thought, okay, this is interesting, to say the least. Then we saw Rise of Skywalker together. My review in a nutshell, I was very underwhelmed, but my friend on the other hand was intrigued. So when she went home, she saw A New Hope, the original Star Wars movie, and she got hooked. From there she saw Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, the prequel trilogy, and now The Mandalorian is her favorite TV show of all time. Now at this point, I was trying to get her to also watch the animated shows, to which at this point I'm honestly not sure if she has done or not. However, after being introduced to Star Wars through the sequel trilogy, she agrees the sequel trilogy was very underwhelming. She is very much in favor of The Empire Strikes Back being her favorite movie. And now anytime anybody says, hello there, she has to say, General Kenobi, you are a bold one. Given she doesn't say it in the full accent, it's more along the lines of, General Kenobi. She's gonna watch this video, she's gonna think I'm making fun of her, I swear to God I'm not. So all this got me to thinking, are the sequels all that bad in terms of the fandom itself? Given there are people in the fandom who think that if you come anywhere close to liking anything in the sequel trilogy, you're suddenly not a real fan. However, that's not entirely true. That is gatekeeping. And one thing that you ought to know about me, I absolutely despise gatekeeping. And I hate that I see it everywhere. Ugh, you haven't seen all 30 plus of the Godzilla movies? Pfft, you're not a real fan. You actually liked part of The Hobbit? You're not a real Lord of the Rings fan. Gatekeeping is such a weird concept that I just cannot wrap my head around it. If you're in a certain fandom, wouldn't you want more people to like the things that you like too? My friend was introduced to Star Wars through the sequel trilogy, and now she doesn't even mention them all that much when it comes up in a conversation. Not only was she introduced to the series through the sequels, but she likes the original trilogy better. She constantly quotes the memes that we all know and love, and she wants to make, I'm not even joking, she wants to make a little power bank in the shape of a gonk droid. If that's not passion of a fan, then what is it? So basically, do the sequels actually have a good reason to exist? Yeah, they're gonna help bring in new audience members to see what we know and love. And the more people that see what we know and love, the more they're gonna see what came before, or what's good that's gonna come after, i.e. The Mandalorian, all these Disney Plus shows and movies that everybody's hyped up for. Is the sequel trilogy perfect? Hell no, not by a long shot. It is a complete narrative mess and the writing is all over the place. However, I can appreciate the fact that they do bring in new fans to see what we love. So what if somebody got introduced to the Star Wars series through the sequels? Show them what you like about the original trilogy, or the prequels, or Clone Wars, or Rebels, or anything. There's absolutely no reason to gatekeep our community. We're all one fandom. We may disagree and agree on certain things that others might not like, but hey, what group doesn't have disagreements? So in closing, sequel trilogy movies, but the fact that they bring in new people to our fandom, that's something I can appreciate for a long while to come. So guys, that's gonna go ahead and do it for today's video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on which Star Wars movie is your favorite and why. For me, it's always been Empire. The introduction to the AT-ATs was always just the biggest point of Star Wars in my childhood. Also, don't forget to follow our other pages. Not only are we on YouTube, but we also have a DeviantArt, a Twitch, a Facebook, and a TikTok. The last of which I post a lot on regularly. With that said, see you all later, my happy viewers.